What's up guys, my name is David and welcome back to the channel. And welcome back to another episode of What I Watched This Month, July edition. If you're new to the channel, I talk about all things pop culture and film related, so if that sounds interesting, consider subscribing. Also, if you find yourself enjoying this video at any point, please consider dropping a like, that would help out tremendously. If you want to follow me on Letterboxd, Letterboxd is an app where film lovers can log the movies that they are watching and write little reviews, and you can see the reviews and vice versa. The link will be in the description, and trying to build that out more, so consider following me, link will be in the description. So with all that being said, let's get into what I watched in July. I started off the month with Prisoners, and this movie is insane. First off, all the technical aspects, the writing, the acting, the cinematography are stupidly on point, but thankfully it's not one of those critically acclaimed films where its strengths primarily lie in its cinema power. The story is by far the best overall aspect, but it just helps that everything surrounding this amazing story is so good as well. The plot is that there are these two little girls who get kidnapped, and Hugh Jackman plays the father of one of these little girls, and he will basically do whatever it takes to get them back. One main aspect of this film is religion, and it heavily touches on that, which I found really interesting, and without spoiling anything, the war on God conversation had my jaw dropped to the floor. That was insane. I don't want to say much about this movie because this is a movie that you really should go into as blind as humanly possible, so check this out as soon as you can. I'm so happy I finally did. Denis Villeneuve is probably the best filmmaker working today, and this just made me even more excited to see Dune. Next, let's talk about Black Widow. Again, I already did a video on this movie, and if you watched that video, you know that I overall enjoyed this movie. I have now seen it 3 times, which is enough for a lifetime. I actually enjoyed it most the 3rd time around. And now that I have seen it 3 times, I have a concrete opinion on this film, and just to sum it up, everything besides the 3rd act is some of my favorite MCU content ever, but the 3rd act is honestly a cure for insomnia. I'm gonna compare this movie... Hello, Toby. I'm gonna compare this movie to Luca for some reason because they're both simple movies from beloved companies, and in that simplicity, it gives me some of my favorite MCU moments. But good God, the 3rd act sucks. It's like if every single criticism with a 3rd act could just be bunched into one. If the 3rd act was better, this could honestly be top 10 MCU for me. I liked the first 2 acts that much. Staying on the MCU, I rewatched The Winter Soldier, and if you follow me, you would know that I'm not the biggest fan of this movie, or I should say, I wasn't the biggest fan of this movie, because oh my god, I am so glad I love this movie now. My biggest issue with this movie was that I personally didn't see the complexity in this film that so many claimed it had. And while I still stand by that a bit, whatever complexity is in this film, that is by no means the reason this film is so good. This movie does so much right, it is ridiculous. The plot, the action, the writing is insane. I'm not gonna talk about this movie too much because you guys already know all of this. You guys were cultured way before me. I'm just glad I'm finally catching up. I've got to rewatch some other MCU movies, but I think this might be the best one. Next, I watched Fear Street Part 1, which was a really fun and entertaining horror movie. This movie is not trying to change the horror game at all. It is simple, fun, predictable. It has some self-awareness, but it's not as good as the self-awareness in, say, Scream. The self-awareness in this movie makes it feel like the movie as a whole just doesn't have subtlety, which overall it doesn't. The writing is pretty weak. All of the characters are caricatures, except for actually the cheerleader. She is the most fleshed out character, which I found that interesting, but everything else is pretty one-dimensional, but you're here for a good time. You're not here to see The Shining. Next, I watched Zombieland with my aunt because it's one of her favorites. Here's a picture of her dog. Isn't he cute? This movie is a blast. It falls into my category of a very well-made good time because that's what it is. The cast is stacked, the pacing is superb, most of the jokes land, the kills are fun but don't feel over the top. This movie has so much to offer and does so much well. But then again, I don't have too much to say about it because it's Zombieland. I'm giving this a B+ as of right now, but I can easily see this becoming a David classic and getting the highest honor of as amazing as Toby. Next, I watched the lesser Knives Out. Clue, I don't care, I said what I said. Clue has been on my watch list for a while, and I know lots of people enjoy this movie, and I kind of don't want to say anything about it. Okay, as you can see by the grade, I didn't enjoy this, but it's a combination of I didn't enjoy it, and also I think that's just a straight up flaw. First, I'll say I enjoy the first 25 minutes. It's fun, it's intense, I was into it, I'm like, this is going to be a really good movie. There's some great writing, the cast is of course legendary, and there's some funny moments. However, the biggest problem with this movie in my opinion is the pacing. It's only 90 minutes, but oh my god, it feels so much longer. That's because the plot is pretty disjointed. Okay, I don't know how to not spoil this, but at the end, there are 3 different ways the movie could end, and all of them make general sense in a way. And it's supposed to be a quirky ending, but for me, I'm like, you're omitting a writing flaw. You didn't have like a concrete ending. All of these endings kind of make sense in their own weird, dumb way. When you look at the reveal in Knives Out, everything is so geniusly laid out. Here, it doesn't feel like no one should solve this mystery. And not only was this mystery kind of just impossible to solve, I really didn't have fun watching them solve it. This is by no means a bad movie, but it's definitely one that was underwhelming to me. So yeah, I was disappointed by that film, but let's move on to something riveting. Dang it. I'm taking a US history class this summer just so I can get some credits out of the way, and did you guys know there was a Cold War and a rabbit killed JFK? Insanity. In all seriousness, this period of American history is actually really interests me. So my father recommended me 13 Days, a movie about the Cuban Missile Crisis. This movie is fine. From a technical angle, it is also fine. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's good. By far, the best part of this movie is the writing and acting. When a conversation is good, it is really good. However, the pacing is not good, the directing is weak, and it's hard to build tension for a story when you know the ending, because, you know, we're still here. But this movie still takes its time way too much. The movie does not need to be almost 3 hours long, and I spent 3 hours watching this movie because I kept pausing it because you're not keeping my interest. However, once again, when the movie is good, it is really good. It has potential to be like a 4.5 piece. It's just not consistently a 4.5 piece. It is consistently a 3.5 piece. I'm glad I watched this movie. It's just kind of frustrating because it was underwhelming. If some things were tightened up, this could be one of my favorite movies, and I'm not even joking. Hey guys, it's David from Late July here. Enjoy this footage of Toby while I inform you that the video is over. Sorry this episode was so short. I was planning on watching some more movies, but just never found the time. But I still hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like. That would be very much appreciated, and I will see you very soon with a special video. Take care, and may the force be with you.